It's good to see everyone again, and we continue in our series. Our series today is specifically wound around Shavuot, Festival of Weeks, as it's commonly called. And we're pushing forward, as we discussed before, the issue of the Omer, of the counting of the Omer, and we get to Shavuot, 50 total days. And it must be 50 total days. So Shavuot cannot start early. It's a holiday that must start at its proper time. It must be night, not dusk, but must be night, literally darkness. And the reason is because the 50 days have to be complete. So Shavuot, a Mikra Kodesh, a holiday per se, and while it's not a gathering holiday as others are, like Pesach and Sukkot, in fact, it is a gathering holiday in the term that all the Jews gathered to receive the Torah at Har Sinai. The famous words Na'aseh v'nishma, we shall do and we shall listen, are centered around the Decalogue, the Aseret HaDibros, the Ten Commandments. The first of the commandments, of course, says, Ani Hashem, I am the Lord your God, which is more of a statement of fact than a commandment. But when we examine it more closely, we find that it is a commandment. And what is the commandment when God says, I am the Lord your God? The commandment is to believe in God. So when we celebrate Shavuot and we receive the Torah, the first thing we have to look at is belief in God. For in fact, this is a harvest festival as well, and we believe in God, and God turns to the harvest. So turn to your God for harvest based upon your deeds. Literally, how one approaches God and practices Aseret HaDibros, the Ten Commandments, as well as the remaining mitzvot, the remaining commandments, will determine how good the harvest is. Now, what I'd like to do is connect a few things together here for you. The first thing I want to connect with you is Pesach to Yom HaShoah, to Yom HaAtzmaut, to Yom Yerushalayim, all the way to Shavuot. So we start with Passover, getting freed from the land of Egypt, and we move to a modern day holiday, Yom HaShoah, Holocaust Remembrance Day, and then we have Yom HaZikaron, another modern holiday, Memorial Day for fallen soldiers in the land of Israel, and then Yom HaAtzmaut, Israel's Independence Day, followed by Yom Yerushalayim, Jerusalem Reunification Day, which occurs in 1967, and then, of course, Shavuot, Torah-mandated holiday. So let's connect a few things between each of those. Pesach, of course, is freedom. Yom HaShoah is, again, freedom, modern day. Yom HaAtzmaut is even more freedom and going home to our homeland. And then Yom Yerushalayim, a spiritual freedom, if you will, where we connect that spiritual freedom to the physical freedom, and culminating with Shavuot, where we receive the Torah and celebrate the greatest amount of religious spiritual freedom that one can have. When we look to the time frame between 1948 and 1967, not one Jew was able to visit the Kotel. Not one Jew was able to visit the Wailing Wall. In 1967, when the Wailing Wall was taken, or returned, I should say, there was a statement made, and the statement was, Ki'ish echad belev echad, as one person with one heart. In 1948, when the State of Israel became a state, Milchemet HaShichrur, the War of Independence, there was enmity between different Jewish factions fighting, both religious and irreligious, or non-religious. Now when we get to the connection of Yerushalayim, and we go all the way to Shavuot, there is something very interesting. Those words, Ke'ish echad b'leiv echad, as one person with one heart, is the same theme that has to be used when receiving the Torah on Shavuot. To receive the Torah, there must be unity. Simple. Must be unity. Throughout the Torah, when the Jewish people camped in the wilderness of Sinai, the term is vayachanu, and they encamped. But when they come to camp by Mount Sinai to receive the Torah, the word is vayichan, in the singular, and they, singular, encamped. Rashi, the biblical commentator, comments with the same words that were recited at the Kotel when the Wailing Wall was captured and returned to the Jewish people. He comments, Ke'ish echad b'leiv echad, as one person with one heart, the children of Israel receives the Torah. The connection of Jerusalem to the Torah and receiving of the Torah is even greater. For in fact, Yerushalayim is most often spelt in the Torah as Yerushalem, literally a complete place. Most often it does not have the yud in it. Yerushalem, complete, shalem. Over 669 times the word Yerushalayim appears in Tanakh, and the majority do not have the yud. So the question is why? Why is it Yerushalem and not Yerushalayim? And the answer is, when ayim ends a word, as in Yerushalayim, it is in the plural. That refers to Yerushalayim shel Mala and Yerushalayim shel Mata. The spiritual Yerushalayim in the heavens, and the physical Yerushalayim on land, on earth. Interestingly enough, Yir'eh Shalem, see completeness. When we look at more connections, we see there are 70 names of Yerushalayim. There are 70 types of names for Torah in explanation. There are 70 names of Hashem. And who brings Shavuot together with Yerushalayim? It is David HaMelech, it is King David. And that's the reason we read Megillat Ruth on Shavuot. David HaMelech, King David, is born on Shavuot, and he dies on Shavuot. And he's 70 years old. So we see 70 names of Yerushalayim, 70 explanations of Torah, 70 names of Hashem. David HaMelech is 70 years old when he dies, and he's born and dies on Shavuot. What is Ruth all about? Ruth closes with the lineage of David HaMelech, the lineage of King David. And we see that within that lineage comes the Mashiach, the prayer for the Mashiach, the Messiah, to come in the future. The Mashiach has only one job, only one. That job is to unify the Jewish people. And how do we create unity? Rav Kook, a famous rabbi of blessed memory, says that in order to create unity, it requires bringing three conflicting views together. What are those conflicting views? Those conflicting views could be attributed to Avram Avinu, to Abraham, our patriarch. The first is that Avram is an Eved Hashem, a person who works for God, who worships God, who serves God. Avram Avinu, Lech lecha mi'artzecha mimoladetcha mibeit avicha el ha'aretz asher ar'eka. Go, and Rashi then says, lecha, for your own benefit. Go from everything you know unto something that you have no knowledge about. Jump into the cold water. And then later on we see something very similar when it comes to the sacrifice of Isaac. Go to Eretz Moriah. Go to this place. Where is Moriah? Eretz Moriah? Yerushalayim. Then we see the second of Abraham's attributes. Abraham is an ultra-nationalist. In chapter 14 of Bereshit it says, when Lot is taken, his nephew, he is prepared to go to war with 4 kings and a very strong army to save one person, and that one person is his nephew. A nationalist. And then we get to the third, an ultra-humanist. When the Malachim, when the angels come to visit Avraham, Avraham does not know they're angels. And he tells them to wash their feet. He goes to them to wash their feet. Why? Rashi again tells us it's to wash the dust of Avodah Zarah, to wash the dust of idolatrous practice off their feet, so they wouldn't enter into his tent with the dust of idolatry. He may completely disagree with them and their practice of faith, but in fact, he's the ultra-humanist to provide for all of their needs. Then we see the same action with the people of Sodom, these evil sodomites. And Abraham goes to argue with God for the city of Sodom. So what's the goal here? The goal is to bring HaKodesh, HaUmah, the HaAdam together. To bring the holy, the nationalist, and the humanist all together. Sad to say, politicians want to divide us. But we are all three. Shavuot, the festival of the giving of the Torah, tells us that we are all three. We are those who serve God. We are the ultra-nationalist. We are the ultra-humanist. And when we have the Torah, and we receive the Torah, Torah me'achedet, the Torah causes the unity, the oneness, and it acts as a vision for the world. We do not want Matan Torah. We do not want the gift of the Torah that comes upon us this Thursday night, Friday, and Shabbos, not to be a fleeting moment. We want it to be long-lasting. And the only way that it can be long-lasting is if we create a spirit of unity, physical unity, spiritual unity, and religious unity. To serve God, to be the nationalist for Zion, Yerushalayim, and Israel, and to be the ultra-humanist to watch out for all of our fellow human beings. Have a good Yontiv. Have a meaningful Shavuot. I hope to see you all soon.